Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're doing great. Santa Monica Studio pushed patch 6007, and while it's not a massive content update, it's the kind of technical polish that quietly makes play sessions less frustrating, especially for folks who've been running into crashes, freezes, or weird performance hiccups. Several outlets picked up on the release and summarized the key points when the build rolled out. The headline change that people noticed immediately is explicit compatibility for power saver mode on PlayStation consoles. More specifically, PlayStation's newer power-saving behavior on the PS5 and PS5 Pro is now properly recognized by the games, hence which should prevent odd interactions or reduced performance when that system-level setting is active. That one-line patch note matters because it avoids a whole class of weird bugs that crop up when a console's power profile changes while a demanding title is running. Beyond that compatibility tweak, the patch contains several quality-of-life enhancements aimed at smoothing out the everyday playing experience. Think subtle UI cleanups, small adjustments to game systems that reduce friction, and backend changes that let things like save and load and menu navigation behave a touch more reliably. Nothing that overhauls game balance, but a handful of tiny fixes that add up to less annoyance over long sessions. A major focus of the update was stability, and the studio explicitly addressed crash and freeze scenarios reported across platforms. Community threads and support discussions had a steady stream of users describing random freezes mid-play or sudden crashes on PC, and this patch targets several of those failure points to reduce the frequency of abrupt shutdowns and gameplay interruptions. If you've been one of the players who's experienced stuttering, frame drops, or periodic lockups, this is the sort of update that won't necessarily change your overall frame rate target, but it will plug specific problem areas, the little things in code that, when unresolved, can slowly pile up into session-killing issues. The team also slipped in a handful of small performance tweaks. These are optimizations on the engine side that improve how resources are handled in certain situations. So you may see fewer micro freezes during intense combat, big boss fights, or moments when the game is loading in new environments and effects. It's not something you'll always notice instantly, but over time, it makes the experience feel more stable and dependable. It's worth being honest about expectations here. This isn't a cosmetic-heavy or content-packed update, so players looking for new quests, expansions, or major gear additions won't find them in this one. Instead, this is the kind of maintenance update that focuses on keeping the game running smoothly and saving you the frustration of having to restart or troubleshoot in the middle of a good session. For some background, this isn't the first time the developers have released focused technical patches like this. Earlier on, there was the Dark Odyssey update tied to the anniversary celebration, which added a free themed armor set, weapons, and shields for players. That update was more visible because it brought new visual rewards, and many players were excited to log in and claim those items. But since that patch, a lot of people started reporting error codes, stuttering, and performance issues, especially on certain systems and setups. Over time, those complaints added up, and this latest update feels like a response to that feedback. From a content creator's point of view, this update is actually pretty important, even if it doesn't look flashy on the surface. Power saver compatibility matters because it helps prevent strange behavior during long recording sessions. Crash fixes are huge when you're streaming or capturing footage and don't want to lose progress. And quality of life changes, even small ones, help keep gameplay feeling smooth and professional when viewers are watching. When looking at community reactions, a lot of players are paying attention to whether known issues have actually improved. People are watching to see if the random freezing reports slow down, if PC crashes become less common, and if performance feels more consistent across different setups. Those real-world results are what really determine whether a patch like this succeeds, and early feedback suggests that many of the most annoying technical problems have been reduced. Another interesting thing about updates like this is that they sometimes arrive quietly, without a huge official announcement or flashy trailer. Smaller maintenance patches often rely on community reporting and word of mouth at first. Players notice the download and then share their experiences. Over time, official documentation catches up, but in the meantime, the community itself becomes the main source of information. So if you're jumping back into the game after a break, or you've been holding off because of technical issues, this is definitely a good time to make sure your game is fully updated. Check your console or PC settings, especially power saving options, and see how the game performs for you now. You'll likely notice fewer crashes, fewer random freezes, and a generally smoother experience overall. At the end of the day, this update shows that the developers are still paying attention and still committed to keeping God of War Ragnarok running well long after launch. Even though it doesn't add new story content or big gameplay features, it improves the foundation that everything else sits on. And for players who just want to enjoy the journey without technical interruptions, that kind of support goes a long way.